Alright, so this is going to be my review for the new Spider-Man movie. It's called Spider-Man Homecoming from 2017. And I just saw this about a week ago from when I'm recording this. It was about a week after it opened in theaters. And I was pretty interested in seeing this. Of, all the superhero characters kind of out there, I'd say Spider-Man's usually one of the more interesting. Definitely has the best story arcs with the comics and everything. My twin brother always loved Spider-Man growing up, and so I kind of knew more about him than some of the other superheroes. But movie-wise, he's kind of gone on a rough path. So with the Tobey Maguire movies, I think the first two are really good. I think the second, Spider-Man 2, with Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker and Sam Raimi directing, I think that second one with Doc Ock is one of the best Spider-Man movies and one of the best superhero movies probably that's been produced in quite a while. So that's a pretty high mark, but then it started going downhill. 3 was really bad, and then the Amazing Spider-Mans were pretty poor. I saw the first one, the first Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. It was okay, definitely not great. I never saw the second one just because it had such bad reviews. I never even went to watch that. So people were kind of interested to see this, rebooting him again for the third time in a pretty short time span. And this time it's directed by director is named John Watts. I haven't seen anything by him. He did a movie called Cop Car with Kevin Bacon. It was about 2 kids that steal a cop car and then get into trouble. It's really all he's done, so it's the first movie I've seen of his. The new actor playing Spider-Man is Tom Holland. This is his first real big breakout. He was actually in the Captain America Civil War, where was his first appearance as Spider-Man, where he's really good in. He was really good in that, so I think that piqued a lot of people's interest, including mine. He had a kind of the perfect balance of humor and action in that, so I think that really got people interested in this movie. It's probably why it's doing so good. And so he hasn't really been in too many other movies before this. He was in, was it The Heart of the Sea, that movie about Herman Melville and Moby Dick. And then he was in Lost City of Z. Is a recent movie about exploring the Amazon. It's supposed to be really good. But anyways, so that's our new Peter Parker is Tom Holland. He's really good. I think he's probably the best actor to portray Peter Parker. I think he just gets the tone and the character right. But this story itself is pretty different. So it's a very small scale, really focused on him being in high school. And he's just kind of getting started in this superhero biz. He did the thing in Captain America Civil War. He helped the Avengers out. But now he's back in high school, kind of dealing with being a teenager. And I think that the movie does those things right. It does a couple things. It doesn't have like a huge villain that's trying to destroy the world. Here it's the Vulture, who they've been trying to have as a villain for a long time for Spider-Man. Here he's played by Michael Keaton. They actually don't really call him the Vulture until like the very end. It's written, but his name's Adrian Toomes, and he's actually starts out as a construction worker cleaning up the destruction from all the Avengers attacks, and then he finds some of this alien tech and starts to turn it into weapons. And so that's kind of his arc. So it's definitely the best villain. He has the most character development aside from maybe Loki, and pretty interesting and very well acted by Michael Keaton as well. So he's the villain, and then Peter Spider-Man is just trying to go out there and do some superhero stuff, and doesn't really have much to do. He's kind of relegated to his little neighborhood in New York. He wants to be with the Avengers, but they keep blowing him off. And so eventually he kind of finds this crime ring that the Vulture's stealing weapons and turning them into these kind of really dangerous alien-empowered weapons. That's basically the story. I think it does that right. It has a really good villain. Keeps the story small. It's not some epic scale. Another thing that they do, they don't go over his... it's not a Spider-Man origin story. We've had that plenty of times. They went over it. They changed it with The Amazing Spider-Man. They showed it, of course, with the very first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. But here they don't talk about it. They don't talk about Ben Parker being killed or anything like that. He lives with his Aunt May again, of course, but she's not a big part of it, really. She's played by Marissa Tomei, a very young Aunt May, so that's interesting. And a lot of it is just Peter trying to get by as a teenager, so they focus a lot on him in his school, and like going to dances, being in what was it, like an academic decathlon type thing, trying to have dates for his homecoming dance. That's where the name comes from, homecoming. So it's like him growing up and then being blown off by Iron Man. So that's kind of the one thing I didn't like, is how much they kind of rely on Iron Man to kind of save him a couple times. And I kind of get it. They're making this shared universe with all the Spider-Man and Captain America, Iron Man, all those guys. It's just this giant Marvel universe now. But I don't know, it kind of takes in a different direction. I don't know if I like it or not, but it is what it is. It's a new Spider-Man, new iteration. So, oh well. I think what they do is he has this spider suit. His costume is from Tony Stark, and it's all super advanced, and I think that goes kind of in a wrong direction too. I don't know if they did this in the comics or not later, but it's all enhanced, kind of like Iron Man's suit. I think it's kind of a weird way to take it. I don't think it works very well, especially he has like a little assistant in his ear, like Iron Man's suit has Jarvis. He has somebody speaking in his ear. I forgot what he named her, but I don't really like that direction. I think there's too much Iron Man stuff. He's like looking at him as Tony Stark as a father figure, but I don't know. I don't know if I really like the way that they go with that. And they're like blowing him off. They just have Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau's character. It's kind of his contact person. But anyways, it feels more like at the beginning like Kick-Ass is what I thought, that movie. It's kind of wandering around, very low level crime fighter. That's kind of what Spider-Man does here at the beginning, until he starts to realize the bigger scheme of what the Vulture's doing. So that's kind of an interesting movie connection. So yeah, those are a lot of the things that I liked about the movie, and a couple things I didn't. I don't like the way that they... I don't know. I mean, I get it. They're trying to incorporate the rest of the Avengers, but I didn't like the fact that Iron Man always had to come and help him. I thought that was weird. I didn't like that part. I think the fights aren't very great, and there's not much, too many dynamic things going on in the fights. And I get that it's kind of like he's starting out, he's still fresh and new at this, but I still didn't think the action was that great for an action superhero movie. And overall, I thought the movie was just kind of boring, unfortunately. It's like doing good things. He has a friend, Ned, who does some funny things with him, but I think it's just too long. The movie's too long. It's over 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think it is. 2 hours and 10 minutes. I just think it's too long. They could have shortened it up a lot. I think they could have picked up the pace. It doesn't need to be going so slowly. And I wanted to like it, and a lot of people loved it, saying it's like the best Spider-Man movie. And I wanted to like it, but I just thought it was kind of boring. I didn't think there was enough going on to make it super interesting. I think it is. I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, the best actor to portray him. He captured that very well. I think Michael Keaton did a great job as the Vulture, but I think he was kind of underutilized. I don't think that story really took center stage enough. I think they put too much focus on like stuff with Iron Man. I think if they took more of that out, and more of the tech from his suit kind of out, and kind of spent more time with Peter trying to deal with Adrian Toomes and the Vulture, like what's going on there, I think it could have been a lot more interesting, maybe a little bit better. So for me, it was not the worst Marvel movie. I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie either. I think it's probably after Spider-Man 2 is the best still, and it's probably close to the original Spider-Man. It's right around there. So I'm going to give it a 3.75 out of a 5. Still a good movie. It's funny. For a superhero movie, it's decent, but I think that'll be it. 3.75 out of 5. All right.